Hi everybody, welcome to the first ever episode of In the Deep with Dave. Today's guest on the podcast is an absolutely brilliant first guest. He's Mr. Unstoppable himself. You'll hear in this podcast his way of thinking is like no other. He's battled depression, he's battled suicidal thoughts, diagnosed bipolar, and he is just an absolutely phenomenal first guest. So, welcome to In the Deep with Dave, and this is Paul Mort.
So just tell the listeners who is Paul Mort, kind of your story, really.
So, Paul Mort, I'm going to start where I am now because that whole autobiography thing's a little bit boring.
Yeah, that's great.
Everybody will switch off. But right now, I'm the Master Coach of the Year in the UK, and I work with married businessmen who need to get their shit together. Right. And I ended up here by mistake. Like, I quite literally stumbled into this career. See, I've been self-employed since I was 21. That's mainly because I was unemployable. I think most self-employed people are.
I think most self-employed entrepreneurs are unemployable. I always say that.
2 GCSEs. I had a GNVQ in something I was really shit at. I was an engineer. Got fat, lost a bunch of weight, started a personal training business, ran all these. I've never had a really problem building a successful business, but building shit that I hated. So I ended up back in 2014. Actually, it was this time 5 years ago when I was in the lowest place of my life. I ended up there despite having a life that everybody looked at from the outside as perfect. Hot wife, 2 beautiful kids. I lived in Marbella, 4-bedroom private pool. Miserable. Miserable. I had this amazing life from the outside, but it was like I'd sacrificed everything to get there. Like, I'd sacrificed my health. I was 4 stone heavier than I am now. I'd sacrificed my friendships. I lived in Marbella, pretty much isolated from anybody. I told the story that I hated everybody. I was diagnosed bipolar while I was there, so I sacrificed my mental and emotional health. And we moved back home in around about September 2014. December 2014, I was suicidal. Then I put up a video on Facebook, just a random video. I was actually making videos for another business of mine, a marketing company that I had at the time. And I said to the camera guy, I said, dude, I've got something I want to say. And I created this video about how I'd felt a few months previously. And right now that video's got 5.5 million views and opened up a whole...
That video is how I ever got to know you and your story originally.
That's the same with most people. I put that video up and I was like, shit. And I'd actually started getting my shit together by that point. I was actually doing all right by that point. And then this video, I had so many people hit me up and say, Paul, can you help me do this? Paul, can you help me do that? I'd been on a lot of courses by this point. I studied with some of the best people in the world. I'd been inside of a program called Wake Up Warrior. I'd studied and been to Byron Katie's school for the work. Worked with a lot of different people trying to figure my shit out. And then this Unstoppable thing was born. Since then, we've written a book. I've spoken all over the world. Last month, I spoke at Expert Empires at West.
Yeah, you did.
Alongside your mate Rob Moore, Tom Bilyeu, Carrie Green, all of these big ballers. So written a kid's book. My book sold 8,000 copies, I think, which is pretty fucking cool considering it's self-published. I've just done a lot of shit. I've spoke alongside things with celebrities. There's a lot of stuff going down right now. But it's kind of all happened. I wouldn't say by mistake, but I stumbled into this career, and now we're affecting fat men and subsequently their families all over the world, because that's what I'm really passionate about. Like, it's nice getting the personal accolades, the awards, and even the money, right? And the praise that I get from people. But what really lights a fire in me, I get emotional with it, is when I see how it affects people's families. So whether that's the relationships with the kids that I haven't seen for years, the relationships with the kids in general, the marriage, and even we had an awards night at the Stadium of Light last week. The guy that won it, part of the reason he won it is because he's raised so much money for charity this year and just changed so much. But this is the first time this has happened to me. I spoke at an event of his in Warwick with the man Simon Thomas. He used to be on Sky Sports and Blue Peter. Spoke alongside him, and at the break, 2 things happened that were fucking mental for me. Just a lad from South Shields. The second half of the event started late because I was signing books, and I'm like, holy, I'm a confident guy now.
Yeah, you've had a...
Holy shit, this is like a virus. This is when I started to realize we're actually infecting people with this shit. Like, we ran out of books.
And how did that feel when you were signing that book? That the moment where you thought...
Super weird.
Did it?
Like, it felt like... I mean, I'd always known that... I mean, listen, this all happened because of my personal results.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not a guy that's preaching here. I'm just showing the way that I live my life, which is based on living a life that demonstrates my values, my personal values, and my personal beliefs. And it just so happens that people have been attracted to that. And obviously, listen, I know a bit about marketing and selling. You have to.
Yeah, of course you do.
Don't be self-employed from the age of 21 without knowing how to market and sell, because without those skills, there's no business. People don't really get that. You can't just be good at what you do.
Do you know what I like about your videos as well, Paul? Is I watched one of your videos on Instagram a couple of days ago, and you tell it how you were actually feeling. You had a low day. Like, if you look at Instagram and you look at these guys, these influencers on Instagram, life is great. The cars are great. The wives are great. The houses are great. Like, they never have a bad day, which is just not life.
Those three things, even the wife usually rented anyway on Instagram.
Of course they are. But they're having so much of an influence. Like, I listened to a podcast with Gary Vee a couple of weeks ago, and he even said it himself, is because he's such an influencer now in the want to become an entrepreneur market. Like, this guy called in his show and he was like, I'm going to leave my job, Gary. I want to be an entrepreneur. He was like, but let's hold on a minute. He went, I know I've had an influence over people like yourself, but what do you want to do? Can you even sell? You know, like, for someone like myself, where I've always been my mum and dad always said I had the gift of the gab. You know, I could always, sell snow to the Eskimos and, people like that. And you've got to have something about you to be an entrepreneur. But I love the way you tell the story, like it's real. And that is what it's all about. It's not about the good stuff. It's about how to deal with the bad stuff.
Some stuff that some people find controversial, such as you don't catch depression, you don't catch anxiety.
You don't.
They're not, you create them both, right? And someone said to me, and I didn't know this. I mean, I get a lot of shit. I'm used to it now. But somebody said to me, and it was a really interesting question, how do you get away with saying the shit that you say? Because I've said some of the things that you say to people, and they've bit my fucking head off. I'm like, I don't do it on purpose. I say things, right, in a way that I would like them said to me.
Yeah.
Isn't mollycoddling me. It's telling me you're fucking straight. It's putting complicated things and making them very simple. And more importantly, particularly for men, is to make it practical. Because there's a lot of mindset stuff. Yeah. There's a lot of it's a topic now, mental health, mindset, etc. Most of it's just airy-fairy bullshit.
It is, yeah.
Give me something to fucking do.
It is.
Like, give me something to do. Give me a solution. Because talking isn't good enough. Give me a solution. Awareness is bullshit.
Yeah, it is.
Give me a solution. Nobody's got it. Well, I feel like I have it, which is why what I say goes down so well, because I'll give you something to do, because you can't think your way out of depression, you can't think your way out of anxiety, and you can't think your way successful.
No, you can't. You can't, and you've got to fit.
You attached to are important. It's important, right? But without action, it doesn't fucking matter. There's a reason it's called the law of attraction. I'm not a fan of the whole law of attraction. I'm a fan of the action part.
Yeah, and I think there's a massive, probably a big influence over my last couple of years has been like that Tony Robbins. And one of the things he says is take massive action. Yeah. You can't do anything unless you take action. And I remember probably one of the reasons for reaching out to yourself is a couple of years ago, running a large business myself, turning over millions. Yeah. And probably like yourself, people think he's got the car, he's got the house, the family, he's made it. Where actually in my mind was just turmoil.
You only see that bit.
Yeah.
See that bit. It's like people say it's like an iceberg with all the... It's like a duck, right? Or a swan.
It is.
They're floating across the surface looking all sexy. Well, I've never seen a sexy duck like. And when they make a noise, it all sounds like they're laughing, doesn't it?
It does.
I hear a duck quacking. I'm like, what the fuck's he laughing at? But it's like they're paddling like that under the water. That's what entrepreneurship's like. Yeah, it's a funny old game. Yeah,
but it's like, so if you were to, like, a big thing about, you know, my listeners, and a big thing is what I like is there's a lot of people suffered like myself and like yourself, and if you were to give advice to somebody listening now suffering with depression, what would the first thing you would give to tell that person to do? What would the first thing to do?
That suffering is optional.
Yeah.
And consider that it's actually just to understand this. Change the way you feel in a fucking instant.
Yeah.
In an instant. And someone said to me the other day, "Oh, Paul, that's terrible advice. That's going to make some people feel worse." I'm like, good. I'm hoping people feel worse, because then they might do something. Like, because action is the only answer, right? So I'm going to give you 4 questions that actually spun me. I had a tailspin about 6 weeks ago, right? Funny enough, right before Expert Empires, I've been in Dubai for a week as well. I had an amazing week in Dubai. And I had a little meltdown. I was just sick, right? That was the bottom line. And I was arguing. That's what's happening to a lot of people this time of year. They've got this time pressure, the money pressure, and they're sick. They're actually physically sick. No sunlight, loads of bugs going around, etc., etc.
I know you have a sauna in your house, and you have a sunbed, don't you? You say a sunbed this time of year.
I'm gutted we sent the sunbed back last week.
Oh.
Aye. We're getting a new banister in. We're getting one of those glass banister things, and we've had to get rid of the sunbed. I'm gutted. Aye. Anyway, so I'd say, when you're low like that, the normal advice is, oh, go and get yourself outside. Go and do this. Go and work out. I'm like, mate, I can't even open the fucking curtains here, man.
Yeah.
So what I say is, listen, all you need is a pen and a piece of paper. The first thing you have to do is get out of here. You can't solve it in here.
No.
This is in here. It's like a fucking horror show. It's like watching. It's like Pennywise and all of those people all at once showing you how shit your life is. Bearing in mind, I was actually had this conversation with somebody yesterday. I said, isn't it crazy that yesterday your life was okay, today it's not okay, and all that's changed is the way that you feel.
Yeah.
Isn't that insane, right? Like, a week ago you were fine. Your life's exactly the same, and that's okay. All that's happened is the way that you feel. So the first question is this, okay? Get it out of here. The second piece is you've got to take away the intensity of the feelings, right? Which we've got to change the language. Oh, I'm in the pit. I'm depressed. I'm so fucking low. That'd be my terms. I'm in the pit. I feel like the weight of the world's on my shoulders. The darkness is here. The black dog's here. All this language that adds drama and intensity to the feeling. We've got to strip that away, and we've got to put it on paper. How do you really feel? That's the first question. How do I really feel? Not what do you feel like, right? If you're using the word like, it means you're about to use an analogy. An analogy is work of fiction, right?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
What we're trying to do here is get to the facts. What emotion am I experiencing? That's it. Because what we know about emotions, again, is the word emotion is in there. How can I move this?
Yeah, it is.
So two, what does that mean? What does that mean? Because often, it's not the feeling that's the problem, it's what we're making it mean. See?
Yeah.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Number 3, the third question. This is the most critical for me. How do I want to feel? People get addicted to talking about how they don't want to feel.
Yeah, rather than focusing on where you want to be.
You get what you're focused on.
Of course you do.
You get what you're focused on.
You do, absolutely.
I'll say this, right? If you don't want to feel depressed, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I don't want to feel low. Well, because you get what you're focused on, it's like going to a titty bar. Not that I ever do that. And saying, I'm not going to look at the tits. I'm not going to look at the tits. I'm not looking at those breasts. I'm not looking. And then eventually you get what you're focused on. Thinking about it. So, how do you want to feel? And then probably, and this is critical as well, what are you willing to do to feel like that? Yeah. Not what could you do, not what should you do, what are you willing to do? And I'm a big fan of being willing, because we feel the way we're willing to feel. Unless it's like an actual sickness, right? That's different. There's not much we can do about that apart from rest. And that was one of my issues. I was arguing with the fact that I was sick.
Yeah.
And getting caught up in all this drama show because I forgot these questions because I'm human. So the fourth one is, what am I willing to do? That's important because I feel the way I'm willing to feel. I've got the life I'm willing to put up with, willing to tolerate. So what am I willing to do is an important question, because then you can actually create a strategy. And again, you've got a strategy for feeling depressed. You've got a strategy for feeling anxious, because again, if I means I've got a strategy for creating it. The problem is, I usually don't know what it is. Maybe I'm doing it unconsciously because it's a habit that I've got.
Yeah.
But if I'm stopped to slow down and I say to myself, I didn't end up depressed by accident. I didn't end up depressed. There's also a correlation between how much people are drinking and eating at this time of year and then wondering why they feel like shit.
Yeah. Well, if you're putting that in your body, you're going to feel like crap, aren't you?
You can't put diesel in a petrol engine and expect it to operate. And I'm not saying give up booze and don't have a great time at Christmas. I'm saying if you're starting to get those feelings, those emotions of feeling low and depressed and whatever it is, whatever emotion that you come up with, it didn't happen by accident. And this is difficult for a lot of people to take because what it means is that you have to take responsibility for the way that you feel. And responsibility, the problem with that word is that people think it's their fault or they're to blame. All responsibility means is this, taking charge. And when you take charge of the way that you feel, your state, it's incredibly empowering.
It is. It's powerful.
Yeah.
Very powerful. And I think...
The guy that said that to me the other day, mate, he was like, that's going to make a lot of people feel bad and this and that, and people might be reading that and take it out of context. I'm like, but it's actually not disempowering at all. It's empowering.
And sometimes I believe you have to feel bad. You have to go there to then understand you're then going to get yourself out of it. You're then going to take the steps.
You can't experience happiness without knowing what unhappiness is.
No.
You can't experience courage unless you've been scared.
And do you think a lot of people's, the way they feeling is the materialistic things? Does Instagram, the Facebook have a play in this because everyone's seeing such a perfect life?
Yeah.
And they're putting so much pressure on themselves to get the perfect life of what they see on Instagram.
There's two ways to take this. One, I wish I had that. Two, how can I get that?
Absolutely.
That's it. Again, that is optional.
And that's mindset, that.
It is. People choose to be triggered. So I'm actually going to do a video later on this afternoon about sometimes I think about this, right? When I'm talking about my achievements, being from the Northeast especially, it's not cool to talk about what you've done, right? It's boasting, it's bragging. And I'm like, I was talking to a doctor about this the other day, actually, a friend of mine, doctor, and he's lost a bunch of weight, Dr. Mike, and he's on Instagram, actually. And he doesn't like sharing his before and after photos in case it makes someone feel bad about being out of shape. Right. I'm like, bro, for every one person that's triggered by what you post, 5 people are inspired.
Yeah, they are. There
are 2 choices here. And I'm like, people who don't have energy, success, or positivity will always be triggered by someone that does have energy, success, and positivity. And guess what? Everybody's going to be triggered by that in some way or other. One person's going to be inspired. One person's going to be offended.
Yeah.
However, the response is more about them than it does about you.
And it's not about the people you offend. It's about the people you inspire to do that and to get out of it. And that was one of the reasons for me wanting to start this podcast, is I believe that even when I suffered from depression, I knew there was a way out. I remember sitting down to the doctors and the doctor, he went to reach for his notepad to write me a sick note of like, I think you should take 4 weeks off. And I just laughed and I says, as a business owner, I would love to take 4 weeks off, but unfortunately I have to go to work because my business needs me.
Imagine how much worse you'd feel if you didn't do anything for 4 weeks.
Exactly. And so that was the big part. And he actually turned his chair around, turned his computer around, and we started going through tips on YouTube, meditation, feeling more positive. And I'm a big believer in, and I teach my kids this, visualization is if I want to do something or gain something or be somewhere, I visualize what it feels, how it's like when I'm there, what it feels like to be there and to do that and to feel happy and the feeling. So not focusing on the bad, focusing on the good. Mm-hmm. And I think that was a big part of me combating that, depression, that moment in my life. And don't get us wrong, like yourself, as I get dark days and wake up and can't be bothered, don't want to leave the house and don't want to face people. But unfortunately, when my 2 little boys wake up and they look to me and think, well, they're looking to me to go, come on, Dad, what we're doing today or where we're going, and you're taking me to school, whether you want to get out that bed or not. So, and that's a big motivation. And I think
that's what you're saying. You're changing how you feel in a fucking instant.
Exactly.
And listen, if that's the only thing that people take from this podcast, that you can change it, not how to change it, but just taking responsibility for the way that you feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are in charge of your feelings.
You are. Absolutely. And there's only you can change that.
Yeah, there is only you can change that. And the thing is, this is what I think happens as well, David. I think a lot of people rely on other people. Like, oh, well, he made me feel like that. Oh, well, I'm happy if they're happy. I'm not. People don't have the power to make you feel a certain way. Then this is the problem that I've got with today's society, talking about bullying and that. Don't focus on the fucking bully. Like, you can't focus on the bully, or you can be like, nobody has the power to make you feel like that, mate.
No, you're right.
Nobody has the power to make you feel like that. You choose how you respond to that. People say shit, right? And people do shit. We make it mean something.
Yeah.
So we teach our kids, listen, if someone says something like that, nasty to you, it's not about you. They're trying to make themselves feel better. And that's their job.
Well, it's generally the bullies and the people, they have an insecurity and they want to offload their insecurities on somebody they can pick on who's an easy target because they don't feel good about themselves. And I think when you're older, you learn that bullies didn't feel good about themselves and probably still don't feel good about themselves sitting somewhere in the world, wherever they are, where you can change that mindset.
And I get every day. But it didn't start happening until I started becoming successful in this game.
Yeah.
And I've got two options to respond. I can try and dig them out. I can waste time arguing with people on the internet.
So in terms of what does business look like for you moving forward then? So how did you get from you were in a job you hated, you were coaching, and then to speak on the stage at Expert Empires? How did you get to that stage? Like if you were giving advice to somebody who wants to get into speaking, to coaching, to helping people, where did you go from that journey?
Two things. Number one, the reason most coaches fail is because they don't work on themselves.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. So one, you have to serve yourself first. There's a saying I learned when I was in Wake Up Warrior way back when was the king eats first. If the king doesn't eat first, the kingdom fucking falls. So you have to serve yourself first. You can only serve people. I can look at you in the eye with 100% certainty and say, I am world class at what I do. And I'm world class at serving people.
Yeah.
But I'm only world class at that because I put elite level self-care as my number one priority every day.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, you're doing people a disservice. Because I can only serve people to the level at which I serve myself.
Yes.
So number one is you have to put yourself first. And if you're not willing to work on yourself, why the fuck would anybody else be willing to work with you?
Yeah.
Number two is relentless consistency. People talk a great game. I talk a lot. But what I never do, and you'll very rarely see this, is tell people what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I just do it, and then I show them.
Yeah.
So for me, it's relentless consistency. People ask, oh, what's your secret? I'm an overnight success. I've been at this since I was 21, mate.
Yeah. You're not overnight.
I'm a 17-year overnight success. But what I'm saying is that it's down to relentless consistency. People will work harder than me. I don't work past 3 o'clock because I pick my kids up from school.
Yeah.
People work harder than me. You can hustle harder than me. You can shout louder than me. But one thing you won't beat is my consistency.
Yeah.
I've sent a marketing email every day for around about 7 years.
Okay.
That's inside of all of my businesses.
Yeah.
Daily email for 7 years. There's people coming into this game and trying to do what I do. They write 20 emails. I'm wondering why people don't buy. I'm like, dude, try 4,000.
Yeah. People give up, don't they? People give up too easily, and because again, people, you're right, they see you as an overnight success, but they don't see the 10 years, 12 years, 15 years that's gone into it, and the 4,000 emails. They'll give up on email 150.
Yeah.
And they'll give up too soon, and they don't believe in themselves to get there. So I'm a massive believer of that.
Consistency. And people are just full of shit. I'm going to say that of the people are full of shit. They can't wait. The commitment is always demonstrated by consistency.
Yeah.
Commitment has nothing to do with what you say.
Mm-hmm.
Only what you do.
Yeah.
So your commitment's always demonstrated by consistency. You know, tell what a man's committed to do by how he spends his time.
Absolutely. And I'm the same as yourself is I pick the kids up from school at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know, I do, when the kids go to bed, I will do work on LinkedIn. I will do work on the business. I will get up early and do work on the business before the kids get up. But, you know, generally at 3 o'clock, I've switched off and gone home. And there's people work 24 hours a day, you know, all the hours God sends. And what's better? It's whatever works for you, and if you getting the results.
Here's the thing. Then they're telling themselves a story that they're doing it for their family. Listen, I'm going to tell you this for fucking sure. PlayStations, Xboxes, VR headsets, you can tell in our office is like Santa's grotto right now. The kids like that shit, but not if they don't see their dad. There's only one thing they're going to remember. There's only one thing they're going to remember, and that's experiences, not stuff. Experiences. That's why we do so much now. Is that like, listen. People, when your kids are older, they'll not be talking about that fucking Xbox they got.
They won't. They'll
be talking about the experiences they had with their dad. All they want is their dad to show up full of energy and buzzing.
Absolutely, and I'm a big
Xbox if dad's not putting them in a bed.
When I was involved in me business that went in administration, and I never seen me kids. I never seen a play. I thought going to work, doing this meeting was more important. Now, this last week, I've seen all of the year 1, year 2, year 6 carol services performances.
You've done well because how shit are they, by the way?
Oh, absolutely terrible. I even got to the second one and thought, I've got to make an excuse. I can't watch another. These are absolutely terrible.
Does the head teacher say the same speech at the end of every one?
Absolutely. And the head teacher's always buzzing with the performance. And I think that is terrible. If I produced that for one of my clients, I wouldn't have a client at the end of the week.
Yes.
So it is terrible.
It's bad.
But yeah, I do get that. And I'm big on you've got to be there for your kids because you're right.
Right. Everybody knows this.
It's action in it. It's taking the action to deliver that.
Like I say, people full of shit.
So who do you look up to? Who are your mentors? Who do you go to for YouTube, Instagram, emails, books? Who are the people that influence you?
No one. No one.
Yeah.
I learned email about 8 years ago from a neighbor of mine called Andre Chaperon. Probably one of the best email marketers in the world. Nobody's taught me Instagram. Nobody's taught me Facebook. And actually, funny enough, at Expert Empires, there was about 20 speakers.
Yeah.
One of which Tom got paid like 150K, right?
Yeah. He's a big name, isn't he?
When it came to the best speakers, I came second. And I was on first.
Wow.
And I only had 30 minutes, right? My friend, actually, when it comes to LinkedIn, LinkedIn's interesting because I don't really use it. I've just jumped on Sam Rathlin's call. Sam Rathlin's legit.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I look at it and I'm like, LinkedIn is boring as fuck.
Absolutely.
Here's what's good about that. One, I don't spend loads of time on there because it's super boring and bland. Two, by summer this year, it'll not be boring anymore because I'm about to step into that world.
Well, isn't that? But the thing is,
entire fucking game.
You can be, because it is boring, because people watch the P's and Q's on LinkedIn and they don't like the people who speak the truth, and it's all about so-called business. Like, I love the LinkedIn police me. And if you tell someone to get a grip of themselves, it's like, honestly, it's like you've killed the president of the United States. It's
exactly what I'm coming in with a fucking sniper then.
But you can come in there and disrupt and be different, and you will do very, very well. You know, everyone's talking about LinkedIn's the next biggest thing because they haven't monetized the algorithms yet. And I think you're right. People like yourself, and especially my industry, I'm in education and further education, and that is even more boring, believe me. You know, still, I've just had a meeting with a client where they're not even using Facebook. Yeah. And it blows my mind how they're not marketing via Facebook. And I'm just like, what is going on here?
Well, you know, one of the guys in my program, Mike, is big on LinkedIn. He's built a multi-six-figure business on LinkedIn without any spend. And I'm like, bro, you haven't even stepped into Facebook ads yet. Wowza. He's the same with me. He was like, Paul, you don't lose your LinkedIn. I'm like, no. So it's like potential. But who do I look up to in terms of that? Instagram and that? I don't really. Here's the thing, mate. This is big-headed as fuck. But I think you've got two options. You're either a creator or a consumer. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think education is important. I mean, I read every day. I think I've read 40 books this year, so I'm into study. I listen to a few podcasts, not very often, but I'm more of a creator because I don't get paid for. I don't get paid, and I can't impact people by consumption.
Yes.
I can't impact people when I'm consuming. One is giving, creators give, and consumers get. So there's a fine balance. You've got to get, you've got to consume to get better and get smarter. But the key to living is giving. I love that. Yeah. Key to living is giving. So yeah, who do I follow? Like I say, it sounds really big-headed, but I don't. I'm putting my content in, and then I'm getting out. There's a danger in hugely over-consuming.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head though. I can't. That's bad, isn't it? I feel bad for doing that.
No, it's fine. I mean, that's it. But you're right, and I suppose if you are a content creator, you're not thinking about consuming all the time.
Yeah.
Where what about books you read and podcasts? So you said you listen to some podcasts. Who is the go-to if you do listen to a few podcasts?
That's a shocking question, shocking answer. I like Rogan's podcast, but again, it's not a huge thing. Here's what I tend to do, mate. I'm going to tell the truth here. For all of it, if I'm stuck or I need an answer, then I'll go and look for a particular podcast.
Right. Great.
Do you know what I mean?
You search for what you need some inspiration.
I search for what I need. I never consume for the sake of consuming.
Absolutely.
Never ever. Right now,
and
I'm reading a book called The Book Your Parents Wish the Book You Wish Your Parents Read.
Right.
Great book. In terms of podcast, I can't remember the last. I'm consuming impact theory quite a lot right now. When I'm doing the whole rebounding thing in the morning, I do jiu-jitsu. Yeah. I do jiu-jitsu 4 times a week.
Yeah.
But in the morning, I like to get shit going. So I'll either have a sauna or I'll get on the rebounder, and I'm consuming a bit of impact theory, and also working with. Actually, I am working with a guy called Matthew Elwell at the minute. On my sales. Matt's legit. That's about it really. Yeah. So if I need something, I'll go and look for it. But I don't consume for the sake of consuming, which I think is a trap, a huge trap that a lot of entrepreneurs fall into. They know a lot of shit, but they don't execute a lot of shit.
Absolutely. And I think that's a massive tip there for the listeners is if you just search for the bits you need and spend the rest of your time actioning your ideas, then who knows where you could go. And I think that is just a massive. I've never actually said that before. That's the first time that's came out of my mouth. I get asked that question a lot. Who are you following? That I'm like, it's not because I think people will look to you as an inspirer. And if someone like myself wanted to go into your space, then I'd go, right, well, where does Paul get his information from? Where's he going? Because again, like you said before, is if you're a coach and you're coaching people and training people, is you want to be getting your information from the next level up and the next level up. And I think that's where people want to go to, doesn't it? The top of the game.
Do you know what? One of the things I figured out is that I want the fastest and the most effective way to get there.
Yeah.
What I tend to do is if I see something, if I look for something that I need, I'll tend to skip the podcast. I'll skip the webinar. I'll skip the audiobook, and I'll just go straight to source.
Yeah.
How can I get in on this? How do I pay you for your time?
Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
I'll maybe follow them for a little bit. I'll maybe read a few emails. I'll maybe listen to a podcast, and then I'm like, how do I get on that? For example, I was recommended a book in 2014, Byron Katie, Love and What It Is, by far the best book I've ever read, and the only book you'll ever need on mindset, right? Ever. It's not even a mindset book, it's the only thing you need to read. And I finished that book. I did a bit of the work. I'm like, I'm going straight to her. So I went to Germany for 9 days, no phone, no contact home, and I did a 9-day school for the work. And that was life-changing. And the fastest way to get people call it modeling, right?
Yeah.
Loves it. Robbins loves the modeling analogy. I'm like, I can either look from afar or I can go fucking straight for the kill.
Yeah. And some people don't have that mindset where they think people are out of reach.
Yes.
They think they can't go direct to source because these people won't. And actually, if you DM someone, and that's how, we're on this podcast today, is if you DM someone or, LinkedIn message, whatever it is, actually, these people will just go, oh, that's
the worst that's going to happen is you're going to get a no.
Exactly. Or they're just going to ignore you, which if you've been in sales.
No, it's not a no never. It's sometimes just a no, not right now. I turned down a lot of podcast interviews, and it's not a no never. It's a no, we'll have to do it in January the 17th. Like, I'm interviewing Rob Moore for my insiders, and that is, we can't do that until the 14th of January.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. And again, if someone says no, they say no. But like I say often, you'll have to pay for someone's time. And that's okay, because people's time is valuable, especially if they're playing a bigger game than me. I'm like, how much is it? Before I went Expert Empires, right? I've never had any training on speaking, and I still haven't. But one thing I hate doing is I hate writing slides.
Yeah.
Right. So there was a guy from Bolden, right, who I worked with about when I first went self-employed. I went on a course for a week, right? And it was can you remember the old business enterprises when there used to be business enterprise? I used to get grants in that, right?
Yeah. I do.
A website back when I went on this course for a week, and it was about how to set up your own business. And none of the people who were running the course had ever run a business.
Yes.
That's when I kind of realized this is weird. But they had a business degree. They never ran a business though, but they'll give me advice on how to set up a business. One guy came in a long time ago. Anyway, I'd seen him once in 10 years. Before Expert Empires, about 3 weeks before, I said, mate, I hit him up on LinkedIn for me, I said, mate, I know I haven't seen you for a while, but I need you some help. He's a world-class speaker, speaks all over the world. Jeff Ram, he's called. He's a great speaker. Funny enough, not many people locally have heard of him, which I find really weird.
Yeah.
The expert's always from out of town, right? He has this saying where he's like, it's like almost like the further away you travel, the more you get paid. They never hire him to do anything locally. I'm like, really?
No,
anyway,
no.
He came in and I said to him, mate, how can you possibly help me do this? So rather than getting a public speaking course, a book on how to do talks, etc., I just went straight to the source. He said, I don't really do that. And he said, he quoted me, he said, but for 300 quid an hour, I'll come and do it. And I think he told me that he said it just because he didn't really want to do it. And I was like, fuck it, yeah, let's do 3 hours. Now, that 900 quid was an incredible 900 quid. Why? Because I got the fast track. Absolutely. At Expert Empires, I crushed it because I have an ability to talk and shout and move people, but also because my slides are amazing. Not a single slide had words on it. There was not a single word on any slide. I just told stories.
Yeah.
And that's why I crushed it. That's
storytelling is the most powerful. You know, people love a story. And
copyable, mate. How many people do you think have got a story for getting arrested for taking a shit in public? Or their teeth falling out at a Michelin star restaurant.
Yeah,
me. But it's uncopyable. But what I'm saying is going back to your question, is that I asked a question, and this is something that I got from a program I was in. I've just finished my 3rd year in there called Strategic Coach, right?
Yeah.
And this year they've had this theme of, instead of asking how can I do this, how can I do that, ask who. So instead of how, ask who. So that's what who can help me do this? Who could I possibly contact that could help me get there faster? Who could I possibly contact that could make this easier for me? And that's I suppose that's what I do. Whenever there's a problem or an obstacle or I'm stuck and I can't figure it out, I'm going straight to source.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not about money. It's just about having the courage to ask.
Do you know that advice there is the most powerful advice that anyone can take on board. Yeah. And people, I go back to saying, people don't think they can go to source to get information. I was always big, and I told this on a podcast recently I did with a guy, and I said, I was always wanting to know if I wanted to be MD, I want to know, how do I get to become MD? Yeah. And I'd follow that path to be MD or CEO or start my own business or do this. And people don't do that. People are just, you're right, they're consuming, so they're not going.
I'm scared to ask.
They are. And that is
if
so
they won't
powerful.
do it, there's one thing you can add on. There's 2 words that you can add on the end. How much?
Yeah.
People are in business. Guess what? If you make them an offer and it's not, and they're not willing to do for, there's a lot of things I'm not willing to do for free. Like I get people, Paul, come and get on the phone for a quick chat. I'm like, no, dude, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. I've got people that pay me money for that.
Yeah.
So I won't get on the phone with you. However, if you post a question over here, I'm more than willing to answer it. If you post a question in my Instagram, if I do a Q&A on Facebook, I'll do it over there. But unfortunately, I can't give you one-to-one access to me because my time's too valuable.
Yeah.
And I value my time, because if I'm on the phone with you, it means I'm not on the phone with A, somebody that gives me money, B, working on my own shit, or C, spending time with my family.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's just being clear on priorities. But a lot of people, if you want to help, sometimes, and not a lot of people say this, right? People aren't willing to say this. Sometimes you have to pay.
Yeah, of course you do.
It's a fact, right? Sometimes you have to pay. If they can't help you for free, that's okay. It's worth asking the question. But sometimes you're going to have to pay. It's called business.
It is. And I think that is key as well for other coaches out there, other people, that they shouldn't give up their time for free. Because if they want to charge, and they believe in themselves and what the value they're adding, then they've got to charge. They've got to be able to charge people.
I'll do a podcast. There's a reason I do a podcast. This is a secret, right? Not anymore. One, I'll do a podcast because you might have a lot of people listening to this.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people before who hadn't heard of me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? That's why when people say, will you have a chat? I'm like, no, but I'll come on your podcast.
Yeah. And that's it. I access your network, you access my network.
Exactly. So the second thing is, I get the people who follow me, all of the people that are on my email list, all the people that are on my Facebook or my Instagram, they get to consume or hear more from me I might say something that I've never heard before. In fact, I can guarantee that they have.
Yeah.
Today. Because I've said some shit that I'm like, oh, actually, maybe that's why I do that. I've only just figured that out.
No.
I've been asked that question. So who do you follow? Who should I follow? Who should I go and follow on Instagram? Who do you get your advice from? I just, when I know that I need something, that's when I look. Otherwise, I'm just learning for the sake of learning.
Yeah.
It's not useful.
Yeah. No, and that is that. I think that's excellent advice, really, and I think that's great. And I think definitely your listeners and your followers will take some great credit from that. And you've got to just get out there, action it, go to source, find the people and the information, and then action the information. Don't then, and I've done it myself. And
the thing is, David, you're not going to action information that isn't fucking useful.
No, you're not.
So you're consuming information. You're not going to action it if it's just information. When I go to source, when I go anywhere and I need the information, guess what? I need it.
Yeah.
It's not just information. It's not just content. It's a solution to a problem that I have. That's why I've gone looking for it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to guarantee you that I'm going to implement it.
Yeah. Great.
So
what does? So yeah, absolutely. So what does 2020 look like for Paul Mort?
Let's get your phone. I'm going to tell you. Give me a sec. Actually,
Okay.
I've got it in front of me. So I've got these. We had a big event last weekend for all the guys inside of my Unstoppable Alliance program, and we're talking about let's just have some fun with these goals for 2020. So I'm going to read you my top 10 goals.
Okay.
Number 1 is fill the customs house in South Shields. I want to do an evening with Paul Mort called Get Your Shit Together, and I want to fill it. It's 400 seater, and this is no mean feat. I've had 100, 200 people at events before. 400's another thing.
Yeah.
Right. And this is more of a spread the message thing. I'll give all the proceeds to charity, et cetera, et cetera. 2, I want to take my mum and dad to Dubai with us for our 40s. We go there 2-3 times a year. My mum and dad could never afford to go there, and they'd love to. I also want to see my dad, who's 64, go down the Leap of Faith slide. I also want to see him do that. And so do my kids. Like, Dad, imagine if Grandad Tom went down this. It'd take him 2 days to get up the stairs.
I love that.
with these plastic hips. But yeah, I'd love to see it. So that's number 2. Number 3, I want to write another book called Bro, Get Your Shit Together. Number 4, I want to get my jiu-jitsu blue belt. Number 5, I want to do 3 weeks in the US in the summer with my kids. And hopefully get paid for being there, which would be wonderful. I'd love to do a US speaking gig. I've got, what else have I got here? I want to meet Robbins, like actually meet Robbins, not just go to his event and get a selfie. I want to meet him. That's on there. That would just be wicked. I've never actually been to a Tony Robbins event. Everyone thinks I have. Like, I haven't been. I've never quite fancied it. Someone said to me once, Paul, you'd hate the people that go there. I'm like, oh, you never know. I think there's a lot of fucking...
But again, if you go there with the mindset, if you'll hate the people, you will hate the people. Exactly. You've got to embrace it.
With me, and I'm gonna cut right to the front. I'm gonna go straight to the front and get the most expensive seat.
Absolutely.
And that sounds big-headed and arrogant, but I'm like, again, I want the fastest path.
Well, do you know, just on that, I went to a property, me and my business partner, we invest in property in the Northeast. I went to the Property Super Conference, Rob Moore, and I went there on the most expensive ticket because the reason being is if you can afford it, go for it. And I wanted to rub shoulders with other people on the most expensive ticket.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
That's it. And that's what happened at Expert Empires as well. There was a dinner with the speakers. And there was a lot of people who had dinner with the speakers and they got to ask questions that would never normally ask. I mean, the Tom Bilyeu thing that you couldn't pay for that, but you could buy raffle tickets to try and win it. I got to do that because they took a big gamble on putting me on the stage because they never seen me speak.
Yeah.
And I fucking smashed it. So I got to meet him and ask him some questions, etc., which is cool. So I've got the Robbins thing. What else have we got? We've got what else is on here? I want to go to Ibiza for my 40s with my wife, just us, which would be a huge deal. Yes. I want to go on a tactical shooting course in Poland with real guns. That will just increase this. That'll increase the size of my testicles.
Absolutely.
I've got a bunch of other things, but those are the most important. So that's 2020.
And do you know what I noticed about them goals, Paul, is as well as business type goals in there, you've got a lot of goals in for yourself of what you want to do, take your family to Dubai. And that was a big thing for me last year is my dad wasn't well for a few years and my mum had never been to New York. So last Christmas, I paid for my mum, my wife's mum, my wife, the kids. I bought them all a box.
I love that, mate.
Let's go and
I thought you were going to say, last Christmas, I gave you my heart.
What I did was
You be seeing that
I
next
watched
Last
that.
Christmas. Yeah,
But I bought a box.
I think
In the box was a sightseeing guide, and let's go and find the Kevin in the city where he got lost, obviously New York. And that for me was better than some of the business accolades I've done. Being able to treat me family and me mum. And
the thing is, mate, the goals that are in there are either going to affect my business outcome. Obviously, I have a financial target, but that's not the main thing. What I've figured out is that what motivates us more than money and success is living our lives in a way that displays our personal value and beliefs, right?
Yeah.
And if I do all of these things, and I've done all of those things, guess what? The business money will take care of itself.
It will. Do you know, I listened to a podcast with the guy who started Poundland this morning, and he said
did Rob Moore push that out this week?
He did, yeah, he did. And he said that exact thing. He says, it's not about the money. He says, if you get it right, the business right, and everything else right, the money will follow. And that is powerful, that, because people think, I'm going to start a business, I'm going to make loads of money, I'm going to buy a Rolls Royce, Lamborghini, whatever. It's not about that. The money is a byproduct of doing something well.
I love that, David. You know what I think? I think sometimes if it's only about the money, you'll say yes to things that you probably shouldn't say yes to.
Absolutely.
You'll say yes to every opportunity. And one thing that I'm actually going to do a video on this week for my guys. When you say yes to one thing, you say no to something else.
You do.
So
when you're saying yes to something, you don't want to do, you're missing out on something you do want to do, or you could be doing for yourself. And again, I say no to more business things now than I would have 5 years ago.
Yes.
And coming on to that, I've got a question for you: is what advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
Ooh. Oh, probably you're always in charge of how you feel. Probably that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or probably like something like put the coke down. Yeah.
These are the things.
The best one, don't be silly, wrap your willy.
Absolutely.
Don't be silly, wrap your willy. Yeah. During an 18-year-old set, probably something to do with drugs and booze, I think. Probably. Yeah. Yeah, probably something to do with that, because that's when you make most of your fucked up decisions. What was the one thing I wanted to touch on? I wanted to touch on something and I've totally forgot what it is. Totally forgot what it is. Hang on. Oh, sorry, it was totally back to that last question. Sometimes I ask, Paul, can we do this thing on Facebook? Can we do this? Or I'll give them some times. I'll send them my schedule.
Yeah.
Like I did with you. And they're like, oh, have you not got any evenings? Oh, but I've got 20,000 followers on Facebook. I'm like, I'm not fucking bothered, mate. If I give up if I say yes to this, I'll get a few followers, a few more people might hit me up. But I also have to say no to my kids.
Yeah, it's absolutely clear.
I'm not willing to do that. People ask how I'm so productive and how you get work-life balance. You get work-life balance by having clear boundaries.
It does. And I get that I'll get a call at 6:30 at night and they'll ring me and I'll say, I really can't do it. Oh, I just want 5 minutes. I'm like, I'm at a football training session, watching my son play football. Like, I'm not taking a work call here. This is my place for my kids, for me to watch them.
Yeah, it's clear boundaries. And I think sometimes with work-life balance, I don't think it always has to be to do with time. It's more about your attention, how much attention you put on something, and how present you are when we're with them. Because I got to think about the time when I was sick. The time when I was low was I was actually didn't spend that much time working. I was bored. I'd be doing lines of coke off my desk because I wanted to feel something, because I was bored. I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
I built this business that didn't require me to put that much time in. So I had what most people call work-life balance, but I'd be there with my kids, but I wouldn't really be there. I wouldn't be present. I wouldn't be fully in the moment. I'd be fucking around on my phone thinking about how I'm going to shut him up on Facebook. Mm-hmm. Mental.
See, I was big for that when I was in my darker day. I remember I was there with my kids, but I wasn't there. Yeah. And my wife used to say that to me. She went, can you just be in the room? And I'm like, what do you mean? She went, you're in the room, you're with us, but you're not with us. Just put us your full attention. And that may be me thinking about something that, I can't affect right now, or on my phone, on LinkedIn. And that is so powerful that if you can turn your phone off, put it on airplane mode so you're not getting bothered, and be in the room. Yeah. Much better things.
You know what I think that one of the things, and this is probably the reason why I got that Master Coach of the Year award, was that I think, and this is with selling as well, it's with engaging my kids, is I've got to have the ability to ask great questions. that for me is the fastest way to get present. Ask a great question and shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Same with selling. Bad selling is telling. Just ask a question and listen. People love being listened to.
Do you know, and that is so key if you're selling, because if you can ask a question, let that client unload all their problems. If you're good at what you do, you will have a solution in your arsenal to go, we can solve that problem.
Yeah. How fast?
Bear trouble. People go, I've got 3 products.
Yeah.
I've got 3 products. I can sell you these 3 and I've got nothing else.
Yeah.
And then you just go,
yeah, because we can't wait to tell. And the thing is, sometimes I think it's passion. You're so passionate about your product and what you do that you can't wait to tell people the features and benefits. Now I'm like this. What would you need from me, or what results would you need to make this a world-class investment?
Yeah.
And I don't need to tell them the features and benefits. Just tell me what they need, and I'm like, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I mean,
so I've got
what's 16 digits on your card? Not. And again, the other thing is, we'll say, are you in? And they'll go, yes or no. You can't bring no one to play with this stuff. What's 16 digits on your card? Or there's 2 ways to pay. Which one suits you best?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's questions, and that's I can't believe we've ended up talking about selling them. We're talking about kids. Yeah.
So mad. Last question from me is, which I like this one because I think gives a bit about yourself. Is you're at a dinner party. There's me and you. Yeah. You're allowed 4 of the guests, past or present. Who would be there?
My wife, my kids, Tony Robbins.
Excellent. And why Tony Robbins?
He's a powerful man.
Yeah. He's
a powerful man. He asks great questions. I don't think he shies away from any subject or any topic. Yeah.
I did that.
The thing is that a lot of people are put off by Tony Robbins is just because of the other people around him. Yeah. If I could just have one-on-one conversation with him, it would change my life.
I did the Tony Robbins coaching with one of his business coaches. Yeah. And what I realized is halfway through, and it took me halfway through to realize this, is I didn't need a business coach. Yeah. Like I know what I needed was a life coach.
Yeah.
And I think and he always says it, and I think everyone needs a life coach. Yeah. It's not just business. It's not just because you know how to do it. It's all of the other impacts, the life, the family, the kids, the wife, the husband, whatever else coming into your life. You need to be able to manage all of that to then have a successful business and be happy. You know, people have successful businesses and still not be happy because they haven't got, like you would say, they haven't got the shit together.
Yeah. And because the version of success is usually someone else's version.
It is. Or the version of success is money. And money is not a version of success.
I think that everyone wants to be the best version of themselves. Everyone say, oh, I'm going to be the best version of myself. What the fuck does that even mean, dude? What is that? What does it even look like? How will you know you're being the best version of yourself? Here's the thing. Right now, you'll probably be the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's the only person you're being.
Yeah, it is.
The self-development world sees a lot of fucked up shit. That's why I'm able to come out with a lot of original content, because I'm like, self-sabotage doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. I'm going to write a book about it. In fact, I'm going to create an audio book about it called How to Stop Fucking Up. That's my next move, actually. I'm going to do that over Christmas. How to Stop Fucking Up. The other thing, imposter syndrome, shut up, man. All these bullshit terms come up. I'm like, mate, come on, let's make it simple. You just believe in your thoughts. That's it.
Yeah, you do.
Syndrome. Really? You're giving something a label. It's like, I'm labeled bipolar, but I'm like, I'm not bipolar. I can go with that label. I can blame it. I can point, I'm bipolar. Or I can just be like, I get excited, I get worked up, and then I get tired. That's it. Yeah, I'm not bipolar. I'm diagnosed.
And
bipolar.
I think that's powerful because you're open and honest and say you've got bipolar, but you use that in a positive way to influence people, and you use that you could sit there at home, on benefits and say, I've got bipolar, I can't work. Where actually, you're a successful man with successful businesses, influencing people to become successful with bipolar. So why can't everyone else use it to an advantage?
It's either a superpower or I can believe I actually don't have it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm convinced I don't have it. I mean, I don't need to take meds. How can I have it if I don't take meds?
Yeah. Great, that.
Yeah.
So last one is, if the people want to follow you, want to find you, want to see what you're about, where would they find you at?
paulmort.uk.
Okay.
Or follow me on any of the social media outlets, but only if you're not easily offended.
Definitely if you're not easily offended.
Yeah. Wicked.
Excellent.
And
Well,
yes,
I appreciate-
David, I think that if someone's still listening, they've passed the snowflake test.
They have. They
Yeah.
have. And I think people will listen. They will take note. And I think, you know, I love what you do. And I love the things you put out there because you're real. You're real. You're honest. And, you know, being from the Northeast, you just put things in layman's terms as what we would say.
You know, Joe, it's because I don't know any other way, really.
Yeah. I like that.
People are like,
I
oh,
love
Paul,
that
how do you do
because-
that? Can you help me do that? I'm like, well, it's just a thing.
If you put it across in a way like you know, Harvard University, Oxford University, I would switch off.
Yeah.
But because you put it in a way where I can understand.
Yeah.
Then,
well, unfortunately, mate, I only got 2 GCSE, so I couldn't even get into fucking college.
Yeah. Well, I always say to me wife, I got an F in maths, and that means I'm fantastic. So don't worry about anything else.
I like that a lot, mate. I like that.
Excellent. Well, Paul, I appreciate that. Thanks for coming on.
No worries.
I've loved talking to you.
No worries.
And I wish you success.
Thank you so much.
2020. Cheers, brother.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Bye.
Guys, thanks for listening to another episode of In the Deep with Dave. If you like what I'm doing, then please please subscribe, and please share this with all of your communities. Thanks again. See you again soon.